sometimes, we shouldn't ask about people's reproductive plans.
Yeah, of course.
But it's an important thing to tell your realtor if you're like expecting a baby number 2. We're going to help you find the layout that works for you.
When you start kind of dumbing it down to like the little cosmetic fixes that can be done quickly, I think it's kind of a detriment because you see a lot of people missing out on those houses that otherwise would have been a perfect house.
If buyers are starting to be a little bit too picky, I think that's where they're losing sight of like the greater goal, which is really getting into home ownership, especially first-time home buyers.
Welcome to the TNT Real Estate Podcast, where we spark conversations that set you up for real estate success. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Tanya, and each week we bring you expert tips on navigating Northern Ontario's real estate market. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, we've got the tools to help you thrive.
Welcome back to the TNT Real Estate Podcast. I'm Tanya, and I'm joined by my co-host, Tyler, my wonderful co-host. Tyler, how are you today?
I am good. How are you doing?
I'm good.
How was the weekend? Easter weekend.
Mine was pretty chill. Mine was totally chill compared to yours. I don't have Easter egg hunts, any of that stuff, just like a little bit of Lindor chocolate.
Yeah.
Everyone's good. How about you?
I can't wait till that. No, I enjoyed it. But it was wild because it's like not only Easter, but for whatever reason, every single person besides 2 people in my family are born in March or early April. So it's like Easter weekend and also 17 birthdays. So it's action packed.
It's like the land of the Aries in your household.
Right.
Your family.
Yeah.
Is it busy?
Yeah, of course.
How was the ballerina party? Was it good?
Yeah. Daughter's ballerina birthday party was fantastic.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, that was good.
Fantastic.
Good.
Okay, well, today we are going to be talking about home buyers.
Right.
Probably mostly new first-time home buyers, and something that we're seeing a little bit in our practice, quite a bit. Would you say that buyers are selective, choosy?
Picky?
A little bit picky?
Picky's a good word?
Yeah.
I mean, slightly picky, which sometimes is good, but sometimes it can be a detriment for sure.
Yeah, sometimes it can be good, but if it holds you back from making a decision, it can be a detriment. So today we're going to be talking about picky home buyers, when it's good to be picky, and maybe when you should bite the bullet and move forward anyway.
Right. So, I mean, I feel like everybody talks about, the first-time home buyer kind of being picky, but I would say from what I experience, and maybe it's just like my practice, it's like they're because they're so much more educated than home buyers 10, 20 years ago, I feel like they're getting to be less picky. But just like recently, I feel like this year that it's been kind of picking up with the like, hey, this is exactly what we want, which is good. It's good to have, when I see a house that has 5 acres and it has a little house and it's in this price range, let's go look at it and then decide. But I feel like it's becoming more and more like nitpicky things.
Yeah. Do you think it's sort of like, the Instagram highlight reel where everything looks perfect and people want their home to match their aesthetic and what they're looking for, and maybe the Instagram and the HGTV.
I was going to say, like, every single influencer lives in a massive house with a beautiful kitchen that they do their TikTok dances in, and they cook their magnificent meals in.
And they have no clutter. They have no toasters.
That sounds great. I want that as well. And I'm like, yeah, but that's, and I mean, I always laugh at the houses that, well, I shouldn't say I laugh, but I enjoy watching the videos of the houses there. It's like, this is what $250,000 or $300,000 gets you in Texas. And it's like this mansion, all brick and beautiful and high ceilings and all the gadgets. And then I actually started like Google mapping where it was, and it's like 10 seconds away from like the Mexico border, and I'm like, yeah, but it's like location is also a thing, and there's reasons why it's that cheap, but it's also in a different market.
Yeah, in our market, I think sometimes people are expecting a house that looks brand new, is fully renovated, but sometimes maybe it's 20 years old or more than 20 years old, so it's got those dated finishes. Right. So what do you think of like a 90s house with a 90s kitchen? Let's say kitchen's not perfect. Would you say go for it?
Yeah. I mean, as long as it's like structurally sound, I would say do it. And I mean, renovations these days are expensive, obviously, but there's ways to, if you want to redo your kitchen, there's ways to do it without actually ripping the cabinets out, like painting it, getting, just refacing it. So taking off the doors and replacing them with doors. There's all sorts of different companies and great contractors out there, which is why it's important to work with a realtor that has those connections. But there's ways to do it on the cheap. And like we had an agent in the office that, they wanted to do, her and her husband wanted to do like a full kitchen reno, and they looked at it a couple different ways. Like, okay, are we taking the wall down and creating like the island, the open feel? Are we just redoing the cabinets? And then we kind of talked them in after they got the cabinet quote, and it was pretty high, we thought. It's like, why don't you look at, IKEA or an alternative, contractor that would do it on a fairly cheap basis? But yeah, there's all sorts of, instead of just going to like the most expensive place because your neighbor that is actually rich went to that expensive place, you gotta shop around. You gotta look at what makes sense.
Yeah. I always say like the comparison is the thief of joy. So, if you're comparing to your neighbor who has the funds to go do that big kitchen renovation, it's one thing to have an aspiration and to be able to work towards it, but it's another to sort of be paralyzed and stop dead in your tracks and not move forward because you can't do it to that extent. So I would say don't even think about renovating the kitchen.
Right.
Is it better than what you live in right now?
Right.
And is it functional? It's functional for somebody. Somebody lives here right now. Maybe the drawers are a little, sticky. Maybe you don't have drawers everywhere. A lot of cabinets open. You can do things with it to make it more convenient. But is it better than where you're living and renting now? And I'll tell you about my very first apartment that I had kind of on my own, and anything was a step up from this one, but it was in Ottawa when I got like my first job after university. And there's this beautiful building downtown Ottawa, and it's like Art Deco style. And I was walking by it because my friend Jess, shout out Jess if you're watching, hopefully you're not. My friend Jess lived down the street around the corner, and we'd always hang out and go to the pubs together and stuff after work. And I was always walking by this building. It was called the Duncannon. It was gorgeous. Had like leaded glass windows, tall ceilings. I thought, okay, this is where I want to live after I move out of my dad's house, because I was staying with him for a little bit. Yeah. And there was this tiny little apartment. It was fantastic. Tall ceilings. I had like a fireplace mantle in my apartment. It was just a studio. Beautiful, like Victorian leaded glass, not Victorian, but I guess Art Deco style leaded glass windows. And the kitchen was literally shoehorned in probably what was intended to be a closet.
Oh, wow.
It was like if you stepped into your closet right now where you have all your clothes hanging, there was a tiny little bar fridge. Wow. I don't even think there was a hot plate. Maybe there was a hot plate, like a sink, a tiny sink. And I had this cute little bathroom. It was all like black and white, little black and white tile, like super 1930s. I loved it. And we made do with it, right? I even had like a little toaster oven so I could like kind of cook stuff. Yeah. I wasn't like living on takeout and stuff. Right. I was still eating pretty healthy. But like a step up from that, then once we got into a bit of a bigger apartment and then rented our first house, it was like everything was a bit of a step up. Yeah. So I made do with that. I was like 22, but I think there's a lot of things that you can do as a homeowner and a future homeowner is to just like work with what's there. Right. And even, it's funny actually, my sister lives in Europe, and do you know that kitchens are not included in your apartment rentals there?
What do you mean?
People move with their kitchens.
Wait. So you're shopping for an apartment, not to buy, to rent. To rent. Yeah. And you go to see this apartment, and it might have a kitchen because there's a tenant. It might have a sink. The tenant's going to take that kitchen with them. The cabinets.
No, there's no cabinets.
No, but they're going to take the cabinets.
They're going to take the cabinets away.
And you have to move or buy cabinets.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know. It's so crazy.
That's crazy. That actually is. Oh, wow.
Yeah. My sister has an apartment and she rents it out, and I guess she can get a higher rent because she actually has a fixed kitchen in it. Wow. So it comes with a kitchen. Isn't that funny?
That is actually funny. That's very interesting. Okay, so let's talk about this long-term play plan that a lot of people have. I feel like it's almost going to the wayside because like the younger generation that I work with, probably my age and younger, they're like, oh, we'll just like whenever we want a new house, like we'll just like sell ours and go get one. But I feel like in the past it was like, okay, can this house work for the next 30 years for us? Like we're just going to move once. My in-laws have been in their house for 30 plus years. I have lived in my house for 10 years now. This is the 10th year, which is actually crazy. Cause this was our like 3 to 5 year plan. And now it's our 10-year plan.
Yeah.
And we were just like busting out the seams now, which is whatever, but, but it worked. And like when we were shopping for our place, like Mel was like very much like, I want like the nice kitchen, I want the things. And I was like more investment focused. And I was like, hey, we need a place that I could put in a basement apartment in, because we're 2 people right now. We can live on 1 floor. It's not going to be a big deal. And that actually helped us for the first 5 years of home ownership. Like we bought this place, it already had a bathroom and a bedroom in the basement. We made another bedroom and we made a little kitchen, and we rented it to Cambrian students. So anytime in the summer, like they were gone home, and then in the winter they lived with us. Most of them were pretty good. We did like the soundproofing after the first year and did all the, legal stuff that we were supposed to do.
Yeah.
And it worked for us. But I feel it's like, yes, it really depends on the person, because I also have a lot of young people that are willing to look at investments and want the second unit because they're, like investment focused. But then the other ones are like, give me I want to live on Mackey Avenue out of the gate. Like they're just like, I want the big thing.
Yeah. Pretty ambitious.
Right.
I think you're right. A lot of home buyers, first time home buyers, let's say, who are just trying to get into the market, they're not shopping for the next 20 to 25 years anymore. Right. I do feel like a lot of my home buyers come in with it with sort of like a longer term plan, which I think can sort of be a bit of a hindrance to them, when really it's probably more like a 5-year plan. Right. Just to get into that first house. Let's get in, let's get you, building your equity, building your skills of home ownership. And then from there, we can look at, after 5 years, maybe a move up if you need to, right?
Right.
I had these clients not too long ago. They were like, looking for a house for, maybe like a bungalow or split level, something sort of mid-range. And there was a nice, brick style house, but it was a split level. Right. So 3 bedrooms up, and then it had 1 bedroom down on the lower. So it was like 3 floors, 2 or 3 floors away.
Right. Before
that 4th bedroom, I guess it would be. And they're like, well, like, what if we want to have 3 kids? Like, well, you don't even have any kids now. So like, how long does it take to have 3 children? Right. I mean, you're probably looking at 6 years down the road.
Yeah. Well, it took us 4. It only took us 4. Yeah. We were
but
quick,
like, you buy the house, you settle in, unless you're currently pregnant right now and you're shopping, which sometimes, we shouldn't ask about people's reproductive plans.
Yeah, of course.
But it's an important thing to tell your realtor if you're like expecting a baby number 2, we're going to help you find the layout that works for you.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. Like I had a couple clients last year that called me and they're like, okay, we're pregnant when we have 6 months to move and we want this. And I'm like, okay, that's great. Let's do that. And there was actually one, it was the end of last year. So it was, their child is probably only 5 or 6 months old right now. And I texted them and I was like, oh, like we have a second showing, or maybe it was a second showing. We didn't have an offer yet. And I said, okay, like we have a showing lined up for Saturday at 5:00. Is that okay? And they're like, yeah, we're in the hospital having the kid. Like totally. Like we're not even there. And I'm like, okay. And then I was joking back with them and I said, like, if we get an accepted offer today, like you have to put my name as the middle name or something. They're like, well, if you sell our house today, we will name our kid after you.
Yeah. Thankfully, Tyler did not sell that house in 24 hours, not that day.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to name their child after him. But yeah, that's funny. I mean, that's like the most accommodating seller, I would say.
Oh God,
they left for the hospital. They're having the baby. So now the house is empty. Go for it.
Yeah. But then like the next week it was like, I felt bad because we still had to sell the house because they had, we were moving in a couple of weeks from then. And I was like, can you like, can we show the house today? Like, I wouldn't wish that on anybody, but they were amazing. They really were.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad it worked out.
Yep.
So, okay. What do you think about a home buyer walks into a place and they're like, oh, these paint colors are atrocious.
Yeah. We should totally buy another house. It's
Yeah. That's a deal breaker.
I also hate the paint colors. No, I think that's the worst way to look at a house, especially for, not even especially, for any home buyer. The paint is one of the cheapest fixes. You could paint the whole house in a weekend, basically. it's just
maybe
like
longer than a weekend.
Maybe
but
longer than a weekend. Not much. A long weekend you could do for sure.
Yeah.
It's like 2 coats and you're done. But yeah, it's just like, it's something that, and it's the little things. Oh, I don't like the handles on the kitchen. Okay. They're like $100 on
you
Amazon.
get like a packet of.
You get a packet. You can go to Home Depot and get a packet. It's not that big of a deal. But yeah, it's like the little things, the nitpicky things, I think, are kind of a hindrance, because it could be structurally fantastic. It could have, new furnace and new windows and all the big things are already updated. But when you start kind of dumbing it down to like the little cosmetic fixes that can be done quickly, I think it's kind of a detriment, because you see a lot of people missing out on those houses that otherwise would have been a perfect house.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially when it comes down to paint, that's, like you said, it's one of the easiest things to do. And I think, my daughter, when she moved into the house that she lives in now with a pile of roommates, they almost painted the whole house themselves. Like, she painted probably the whole first floor. Yeah. And then over time, like, she was away one weekend, one of her roommates painted the kitchen. I was like, oh, you guys are doing a good job. And if, these, 20-year-olds can do it, I think somebody who's buying a home can certainly invest in some paint materials and
right.
Yeah.
And then like I get it. Like we see houses all the time that have like the like Harley Davidson orange kitchens and living rooms and all the things. Like I get that there's, horrible paint colors out there. But at the end of the day, it is like, it technically like one room could be like $150 fix. Yeah. So it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. If your biggest problem is like the paint or the kitchen cabinets, you really don't have a problem at all.
Right.
No problem.
Right. Okay. So what other deal breakers are you seeing when you're working with clients these days?
Well, I find you mentioned sort of the Mackey Avenue of it all. And I think that's one of the things as well we think about is like clients who are too focused on a particular neighborhood.
Right.
Right. Like let's say South End or they want to live on Mackey, that type of thing. Those are big ticket places to live. So do you need to live there now? Certainly, if it's a move up and that's your aspiration and you're capable of doing it, that's one thing. But just being a little bit too hung up on the one area in particular, not having alternative ideas, alternative neighborhoods, and kind of thinking sort of that long term that like, I want the South End because of the schools. Well, do you even have any kids right now? Like maybe that's not a now problem. Maybe that's a 7 year from now problem. The waterfront, Mackey, that sort of aspirational thing is great. Do you have the funds? Do you have the funds to pay the taxes? Because your taxes are often going to be over $10K a year, and they're only going to be going up from there. So that's one of the things I find sometimes people are a little too hung up on that one particular location, and not having alternatives that might make them just as happy.
Right. I had a client. I've actually been working with them for a little while now. We still haven't found a house, but when we first started working together, they gave me a list of streets that they would live on, and I told them, I was like, it's pretty limited because I think there might have been like maybe 10 streets. But like they're pretty small, kind of covert, like beautiful streets, and I understand why they would want to live on those. But like being like 1 block away from those streets could also be like really nice. And so now, like as the process has gone, we've obviously widened our search neighborhoods. But yeah, like I mean, it's a process, especially, and they're experienced buyers and sellers, so they know what needs to happen. But with first time buyers, they're like, okay, I need to have 4,000 square foot house, and I need to have a garage and a little bit of land, and I'm like, okay, what's your budget?
Yeah, the garage factor, I find that can be one of the more limiting things as well for first time home buyers, because you're going to limit your number of homes that you're going to go see, right?
Yeah,
and do you really need that garage? Can you make do with something else? Like, is it for storage, or do you actually need to work on your car? I think it's a great thing to have, certainly, but maybe you're open to a carport rather than a garage. Just getting too hung up on those very, very specific items that are going to limit the number of houses you're going to go see.
Right. And I mean, like the garage adds a ton of value to houses, especially in and around Sudbury. So like if it's not going to fit in your budget now, like can we just find a place that has a little bit of extra space, or you can drive past the house and you can, build a garage in the back in 5 years when you're ready. Like a little flexibility goes a long way.
Maybe you can budget for the garage down the road.
Right. Okay, so what about, I mean, we kind of already talked about kitchens, but do you think kitchens is the biggest hang up that you're seeing right now? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe I just deal with a lot of people who love to cook and love to entertain and that kind of thing, right? So looking for a super functional kitchen, maybe a little bit of opening between the kitchen and the dining space for entertaining, but that usually is. And I think some of it also is that perception as well, of that the expense of doing a new kitchen is like $50,000. Yes, it can be. Certainly you can spend that much if you want to. But there are ways, like you said earlier with the IKEA of it all, and even just painting your cabinets and making it more functional. I think kitchens can be definitely the hang up. Yeah, if buyers are starting to be a little bit too picky, I think that's where they're losing sight of like the greater goal, which is really getting into home ownership, especially first-time home buyers.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like the education is out there. So a lot of, first-time home buyers realize that it's all about like the equity build. And, I mean, we both are we own multiple properties where you have the investment side, and we're pitching that all the time to our clients and even our agents in our office, right? So I feel like it's a huge wealth builder, and without that, especially these days, like it's hard to get ahead. But once you get into home ownership, you are there for a couple of years, you start understanding, okay, this is how much equity I've built. Is it time to can we feasibly move up into like the next house bracket? And oftentimes, like, it's yes, like, you're buying typically in Sudbury, like you're, under 25 or let's say under 30 for your first time home. Like in 5 years, you're, more established in your job. Maybe you've got a couple raises, you've changed, you have the income to move up, and now you have the down payment that's built into your house. So a lot of people that, are forever renters forget that, that is a huge upside to, your retirement, your, livability. And it's something that I feel like is getting into the education system, or like at least like when people are watching YouTube videos and stuff, it's important. It is really important.
Yeah, well, we had a high school guidance counselor, I think, reach out to us about giving presentations as realtors to high school students. I think that's one of the things that we can impart on them as youth, is that the good things about home ownership and home investment, real estate investment, and that kind of thing. Another bonus I think people don't often think about is the control you gain by owning the space that you live in.
Right.
You're not going to be worried your landlord might sell it down the road. You don't have to be on edge. You don't have to be thinking about increases in rent payments. I mean, I know the increases are pretty minimal if you stay in the same place, but then you might have a neighbor who's, being noisy. Is the property manager going to deal with it? It's having control of your environment and just a lot more, I think, peace in your everyday. Right.
Okay. Let's move into some rapid fire.
Okay.
And let's gear it towards like first time buyers, let's say. Okay.
Okay.
When somebody comes up to you and says, Tanya, I don't like the paint color.
Okay. So plan a weekend. I'll buy you the paint.
Okay, that's good.
What about the kitchen isn't updated enough for me?
Can you imagine yourself here for 3 years? If yes, then it's fine. It's good. You could fix it later. We only want the south end.
You want the south end, but do you need the south end? Let's look at an alternative as well, just in case.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. Okay, what about we might outgrow this in 5 years?
Yes, you will. That's normal. And then you call me again, and then I'll sell this one and help you find your next step. I want something perfect. HGTV, perfect.
Perfect. Well, if it's perfect, then you're paying for somebody else's renovation and often their taste.
Okay.
Which is going to fade.
Cool. Okay, so let's finish up with some final thoughts on where should you be picky and where shouldn't you be picky?
Yeah, I mean, you should be picky, like you were getting into earlier, is furnaces, roof, structure, the big ticket items.
Right.
Are they going to need a replacement soon? Are they sound? Are they working? Are they functional? Great.
Right.
Yeah, I think those are the things to be picky about because it's a larger budget item to think about.
Right.
What do you think? What should people not be picky about?
I mean, we've been kind of harping on it all episode, but just cosmetic fixes. If you can do it, or you have, a friend that can help you, or if you have, and nobody should be buying a house without a little bit of extra comfort in their savings account. I mean, the cosmetic stuff, worry about the foundation, worry about the structure, location to some extent, but the cosmetic stuff can be fixed as long as it's, not big structural stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely good to be picky about the things that you can't change.
Right.
Like location and the neighborhood next door with the car garden. Okay. So if you're feeling stuck right now in your journey to become a homeowner or in your journey to be a move-up buyer, just kind of zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture.
And get help. I mean, you can get, we're experienced. There's tons of agents in the city that are experienced with, people have been through your scenario before. Feel free to reach out and have those conversations.
Yeah. Think about what you need in the next 5 years and not the next 20 years. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please do like, subscribe, and share it with somebody else you know. And we'll see you next time on the TNT Real Estate Podcast.